How many of you watching this video can honestly say that you haven't made a big money mistake? Well, certainly I have. Truth is, I don't have enough fingers to count how many times I made a financial misstep. But luckily for me, none of those missteps was a killer. But we all know one big mistake, especially when we're in our 50s, it can cost us everything that we worked so very hard for over the past few decades. So what are some of the mistakes? What are some of the top money mistakes that people make in their 50s? And more importantly, how can you avoid them? Well, the answer, my friends, is up next, right here on Over 50 TV. Welcome back to Over 50 TV, where we provide essential work and money tips for people over 50. My name is Lou Reyes. And before the break, I promised to tell you about some of the top money mistakes people make in their 50s. But before I do that, I want to ask you to subscribe to Over 50 TV. You can do it rather easily by just clicking on that little red button. It's underneath your screen. Now, there's also a little bell. If you smash that little bell, every single time we upload a new video, you'll be notified in your inbox. So now let's get to the top money mistakes people make in their 50s, and we're going to do that by starting with staying at a job too long. Many boomers like me were told by our parents, our grandparents, our peers, and probably too many people to count, that it's smart to find a good job, stay there, make money, and retire. Well, I never bought into that plan, but I do know a lot of people who did. Now, one of the problems with sticking to a plan like that, and believe me, there are many, is that your pay raises were rarely enough. And in 2021, it's even worse. The average pay raise is, and I'm going to say it, it's a paltry 3%, and that's according to the Society for Human Resources Management, also known as SHRM. And I say it's paltry because the inflation rate right now is 5.4%, and that inflation rate is eating away at your buying power. It's eating away at your raise. And it certainly means you're making less money now than you began making this year. Now, I know economists are saying that they expect inflation to decline next year to just over 2%. But even if it does decline to 2% or 2.5%, if you've gotten a 3% raise, your net raise is anywhere from 0.5 to 1%. Contrast that with a pay increase of 10 to 20% if you change jobs, and that's according to Forbes magazine. Forbes magazine does say that in extreme cases, people receive upwards of 509%. But they do acknowledge that this depends on each person's individual circumstances and industries, and yeah, that is obvious. It's also obvious why people stay at their current job, and they do that for a variety of reasons, including a fear of change or maybe even a sense of loyalty to their manager or their company. But you know what? With so many of them financially unprepared for retirement, it would be prudent for them to push through that fear and forget that loyalty and understand one thing, that their loyalty is to themselves first. Another top money mistake people make in their 50s is not eliminating debt. Now, we may not all be drowning in debt, but we can admit that sometimes debt has a hold on us, a chokehold that we just can't seem to get out of. According to a report from the real estate data company Clever, the average retiree, they now hold nearly $20,000 in non-mortgage debt, and this includes credit card and bank loan debt. Many of those folks, they're going to find it difficult, if not impossible, to pay that debt off because they're on a fixed income. The time to wipe out that debt, or at least reduce it substantially, is to do that before retirement. Now, the steps are obvious. It includes cutting your costs, reducing your spending. But here's a step for you. Hire a certified financial planner. And if you have questions about hiring a CFP, we have a video we produced called What You Need to Know About Hiring a Financial Planner When You're Over 50. I think you'll get some great ideas from watching that video, and after watching the video, I think you'll have a plan. Another top money mistake people make in their 50s, not creating an emergency fund. Now, emergencies will always happen, and they will throw a wrench into your plans when you least expect it. The simplest fix is to include saving for emergencies in your financial plan, and do that now. How much should you save? Well, the size of your emergency fund is going to vary, and it's going to vary depending on your lifestyle, your monthly costs, your income, and of course your dependents. But a good rule of thumb is to put away at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Here's another rule of thumb. Your emergency savings, they should be counted separately from anything else and reserved only for emergencies, no matter how tempting it is. And I will say this too, it also needs to be liquid. You've got to have liquid capital that you can access quickly. One trick that many people use is to put that money in a separate savings account. That way you're not tempted to use it until it is needed. Now, if you end up not needing it, you can always use it as a buffer. You can deposit into your savings or your savings for retirement. Here's another top money mistake people make in their 50s. It's failure to make a clear retirement plan. And the consequence of failing to create that clear retirement plan is that many retirees have far less than the ideal amount of retirement savings. According to the real estate data company Clever, most people have just 39% of the recommended amount. And the recommended amount, it's a lot, but it's necessary. $465,000 in savings. When people haven't saved enough money, when they have this deficit between what they should have saved and what they saved, the result is often, usually, every time, they're going to have to rely on their Social Security, and as we all know, that is not enough. If you don't have a clear retirement plan, there is no time like the present to establish one. Now, some key factors that you should consider, I think you should consider, are determining how you will not increase your debt. You're going to determine how much money you need to save, and you're also going to think about this. How will you add assets that give you a retirement income stream? Another top money mistake people make in their 50s, not setting aside money for medical expenses. Now, a recent study by the Blackstone Group found only about 21% of middle-income baby boomers has set aside money for medical expenses in retirement. Medical expenses aren't one of those things that most people, and this includes me, that most people think about, let alone plan for, until they get sick and need to visit a doctor or even to go to a hospital. To be sure, medical expenses, they occur more frequently as we get older, and they can be brutal. Fidelity Retiree Healthcare Cost Estimate says an average retired couple, age 65 in 2021, they may need approximately $300,000 saved to cover healthcare costs in retirement. Don't wait until your health begins to decline before you start saving. I have one more top money mistake people make in their 50s that I'm going to share with you today, and this is it. Thinking it's too late to build wealth. Now, it can be depressing to look at the little savings account that we have and we think we blew it because we didn't save enough money for retirement. But really, it's never too late to start building wealth. We just have to be more creative and be determined to create as much retirement income as fast as we can. One of the best, and I almost want to say easiest fixes for not having enough money saved for retirement is have a method for generating income. And that's income you're generating while you're retiring now. Some people work part-time. Passive income streams, good idea. Investments that generate income, yeah, they're all effective methods of bringing in additional income. We cover some of those methods in a new Over 50 TV video titled How People Over 50 Can Achieve Financial Independence. This particular video also outlines one of our favorite ways to create a revenue stream, which is to start a side hustle. Now, recently we launched a page on Patreon. We call it Side Hustle Theater. And on this platform on Patreon, we create programming to help you create a profitable side hustle. I do want to mention, though, Side Hustle Theater, it's really for people who are serious about making money. Now, if this interests you, what you can do is click on the Side Hustle Theater link. I'm going to put it in the description box. One more thing about thinking it's too late to build wealth. It's one thing to think it's too late. It's another thing to believe it. Don't believe it. It's not true. Not if you're committed to building wealth, not if you're determined to build wealth, and not if you spend the time. If you spend the time, spend the energy to make sure that you have a good retirement income. Well, there you go, folks. I've just given you 7 top money mistakes that people make in their 50s. And I have no doubt there are plenty of other mistakes that people make in their 50s. Baby boomers, people like me, we make mistakes, but you know what? We always want to look for solutions. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message. Let me know your thoughts. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. One more thing I want to ask you before we go here. I want to ask you to subscribe to Over 50 TV. You can do that by hitting that little red button. It's underneath your screen. And there's also a little bell. If you would, hit that little bell, and every single time I upload a new video, you'll be notified in your inbox. Well, as I always say, have a great day, everybody.